Hi, my name is Michael Thielman. My presumed birth date is September 7th, 1977, and I was adopted in June 1979 to Minnesota in the United States. Is that on December 7th of 1978 is when all of the notes started, is where it started. And so I don't know what orphanage I was left at, but it states that I was left at an orphanage. From Andong City Hall, I went to the Social Welfare Society in Daegu. And that's when I ended up going to the Dr. Song's hospital. And that's where they estimated my birth date, about September 7th, 1977. You know, the only thing that's really signifying that would help with any type of identifying with my past is that I have like a birthmark on my arm, and that's the only thing that can really, I think, connect me to anything part of either biological family or my past before I was left at the orphanage. It was nice. Like it was a really, you know, happy times that I can think of. When I got older and got into junior high, that's when the first time I met Asian kids or people that were Asian that weren't adopted. And then when I got into high school is when I met my first non-adopted Korean friend. And it was a really strange experience to see her parents and to see her brother and to see people that looked like me, but through my eyes, I didn't really feel Korean, but I knew that they looked like me. So that's, I think, when I started having some more challenges with my identity and started kind of wondering a lot more about, you know, who am I, what's my history, what's my past. But interestingly, when I met my now wife, when I started dating her, she's Korean and non-adopted. So I got introduced to the Korean community. And when I got introduced to the Korean community, I wasn't really accepted very well by the Korean community because I didn't know the Korean culture, I didn't know the Korean language, I didn't know the tradition. I think that was more difficult than anything else. In my mind, I'm like, oh, finally, like I'm getting connected with like my roots, and I'm getting connected with people that, you know, that look like me and stuff like that, but I wasn't accepted. And so that was where I would say that kind of the identity issues really started to get difficult. And so it was in 2016 is when I actually got serious about it. I did the DNA testing, went back to I was only there for 8 days. It was a really short trip. I just didn't have the ability to take a longer trip. But I remember just walking around and just the smell of everything just smelled so familiar. The heat, the humidity. And then I found an orphanage actually to go visit in Andong. And I don't know if it was the one that I was left at, but I wanted to at least go visit it. And so I went there and I got to walk around the grounds. I got to see some old pictures of it, and it brought up such deep emotion in me that I ended up like breaking down and crying like so many times. And when I got back to Canada, I resented so much when I got back here. And I isolated myself really bad. But I knew it was going to be difficult, so I got a therapist just to help me articulate, you know, a lot of what I was going through and a lot of my emotion. And she was Korean, and she told me about the word Han. So when I went back, I had the opportunity to visit about 80% of the country. It really made me have a much better understanding about what life was like, maybe back in the 70s, you know, when my mother, if the story is correct to where she is the one that left me at the orphanage, a little more understanding on why that is something that's considered for kids. You know, if she's alone or if she's sick, yeah, it's like I want to be able to do what I can to help take care of her and that. So that's, yeah, that's some of the big reasons, you know, why I want to do the search and try to connect. Hi, Amma. It's amazing if you were able to finally reach and see this. I've always loved you. I really have. I've thought about you almost every day. And I hope you know that I'm not angry. I'm not mad. I'm not sad. Oma, saranghayo.